Calories. Calorie balance. It's pretty straightforward. And if your calories aren't low, then you're probably going to have struggle with weight loss.
If you have to tell Gen Pop two habits to follow throughout the year consistently, what would that be?
Weights and have most of your meals be composed of a core of protein. Show up to any restaurant, show up to your kitchen, show up to the grocery store. First question, how do I get the protein?
How do you approach those people to eat enough protein?
You ask them how their health and body composition are going.
Yeah.
And they tell you that they're age 35, not overweight, but undermuscled and diabetic.
Obviously, we talked about protein earlier. I want to still go a little bit inside the protein intake. So many people think, even though it's everywhere in the internet, we do need to eat enough protein. How much protein should everyday people eat, even if they don't lift the weights?
Well, I think everyday people should be lifting weights. So, and I think if you're eating a lot of protein but not lifting weights, it doesn't make a ton of sense. So I would say decent guideline is at least a gram per kilogram for fundamental health. So if you weigh 55 kilograms, you should probably be eating at least 55 grams of protein. For people that are lifting weights and are pretty serious about fitness, I would say 1.5 grams per kilo is pretty good. So, if you weigh 50 kilos, maybe 75 grams of protein a day, that starts to be more serious. And I would say if you really want to maximize or nearly maximize how much of the effort of your weight training is actually being realized with the food you're eating, then 2 grams per kilo is a really good target. So if you weigh 50 kilos, eat 100 grams of protein a day. Now that is plenty. And it's also important to make sure to split this up into 3 to 5 roughly evenly spaced meals of a roughly even amount of protein. So if you eat 100 grams of protein per day, each meal should be between 20 and 30 grams of protein, about 3 to 5 hours apart, something in the morning, something closer to bedtime, and then 2 meals in between.
And what about the carbohydrate, which is kind of overrated, that everyone thinks that is not good for you, especially people with Italian background, Indian background. We eat carbs and we have a meal full of carbs. So if I go to India and tell my parents or my family, that's too much carb. But this is how we've been eating since I was young. And for them, if I tell them something that this is not enough, like you need to add this, they won't listen to me. So how do you explain these people or a certain culture, they love carbs and you can't tell them not to eat that, but still add certain protein? And if you go to India, like I really want you to take to India one day, we will have workshop there. It's there in a plan. But if we ever go to India, it is carb based. Everything, everywhere, even sports athlete, everywhere you go, carb is part of our love, our culture. Then it comes everything else. How do you approach those people to eat enough protein?
You ask them how their health and body composition are going. And they tell you that they're age 35, not overweight, but undermuscled and diabetic. And you go, okay, are you ready to change your diet? And they go, yeah. Or they go, no. And you're like, okay, cool. Hopefully you're around in another 5 or 10 years and not totally miserable and dying. So it's pretty straightforward. If you're in really bad shape, then the defensibility of your nutrition is just not a thing. It's like if you tell somebody you're really good at fighting, but then like a 10-year-old girl beats you up, there's not really an argument after that. Clearly you are not good at fighting. So if someone eats a ton of carbs and they're shredded and super healthy and muscular, saying fuck them, great, carbs are great. But if someone is eating a ton of carbs and at the expense of eating enough protein, if they're sarcopenic, which like half of India is, not enough muscle, and over fat, which again like half of India is, then it's like, okay, well, so you can continue to eat the traditional Indian diet, but this is the result that it has brought you. Any interest in changing would be great. And the other thing is like most Indian dishes have some protein component in them. And if you just increase the protein component, like the meat, for example, or you have a protein shake with the meal, you can continue to eat an Indian diet, but it has to be adapted for a higher protein intake. And I'll tell you another thing. Most diets of every culture are relatively low protein, high fat, and high carb because traditional diets are like things that are tasty, things that are available. And as a world, we're only now becoming very, very wealthy, wealthy enough for people to get enough protein. And so, one thing I would say, kind of a call to arms, is for people that know how to make Indian cuisine. Because Indian cuisine is like, I would say, probably like pretty close to objectively the best food in the world. Like Indian shuts everything down. Like this, first of all, there's like 100,000 different Indian foods, and all of them are the most. It's like 10 spices per food, and you're like, holy shit! Like if you're from Eastern Europe, you really don't even know how to catalog Indian food. Like if an Indian came over to Poland and tried some of their food, Poles, you guys are great, no offense, they would be like, what the hell is this dog food? And you're like, yeah, okay. So Indians have like the best food in the world. And so it is time for people who know how to make Indian cuisine and know macros to start making good macros, high protein, moderate carb Indian food. I think that's a huge unlock. If you're listening to this podcast and you're in India and you have the means, then starting some kind of macro meal delivery service or just delivering it to gyms in India of traditional Indian foods that have higher protein, high fiber, plenty of veggies, moderate calories is just going to be massive because it's a completely untapped market that needs to be tapped massively. So that all aside is when you visit India and you have family that like just won't change, that's okay. At least you can take care of yourself. You can buy like the Pure Genius brand Genius Shot that like you just take with you, and it's 23 grams of protein. You just have it with every meal, no big deal. You can bring your whey protein powder, have it with the meals or after meals that are not super nutritious otherwise. But I will say there's nothing wrong with carbs unless they do one of two things. One is they push out your protein, so you're eating so many carbs you don't have the calories for protein. And two, if they push over your calories. So if you're getting enough protein and you're not eating so much food in general that it's getting super high calorie and making you gain weight, you can eat all the carbs in the world. No problem with carbs themselves. It's not the carbs. It's the fact that the carbs push out protein and the fact that the carbs push up the calories. If you constrain both of those, it's totally fine. It's like another stupid analogy here. It's like, what's wrong with screaming? It can hurt your throat and it can scare people. So but if you're screaming in a way that doesn't hurt your throat, you're doing it at the gym, or you're doing it in the basement of your house, there's nothing wrong with screaming at all. You can scream all you want. So it's not the screaming that's the problem. It's screaming on an airplane that's a big problem that people just won't understand what you're doing. You'll probably get tackled by the security. Nothing wrong with carbs as long as they don't push out protein and as long as they don't push out calories too far. That's the real big kicker.
That's amazing. And I always tell my clients to start your day with protein shake, end your day with protein shake. So your 40 grams is done. And then try add a little bit of it in every meal. You'll be definitely getting 100 grams. It's just the easiest way. But I hope they follow. The other thing is like, it's definitely very big in India, but I think it's all over the world as well, that Gen Pop are very much after particular diet. So at the moment, social media is going very high on anti-inflammatory diet. There were intermittent fasting before. What do you think about that? Or you think it's okay to have it as long as they are consistent in diet or food?
What's an anti-inflammatory diet?
Oh, it's going big at the moment, social media, especially in India. Everyone, all the Bollywood celebrities are after it. They are promoting it like crazy. And everyone, even in Australia, Indian Australian, are following it. I don't know how much it works. I have not done it because I'm following what's supposed to be followed consistently throughout the year. And I think it's just pretty much works very well. But anti-inflammatory diet at the moment is on the top if you go.
I would say it's not 100% dependable, but pretty dependable. That if it's a fad that celebrities are doing, it's probably a giant fucking waste of time. Period.
True, yeah.
And so if you see celebrities doing something, it's probably better evidence to ignore it than evidence to use it. For example, if you told me, hey, anti-inflammatory diet, I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. And you're like, a ton of celebrities doing it. I'm like, ooh, that probably means it's dumb. I have less of an opinion of a diet if celebrities are doing it than if not. So anti-inflammatory diet, I'm not sure exactly what that means. It's a good idea to eat foods that don't typically result in a lot of inflammation, but there are a couple of really predictable ways of eating that result in higher inflammation. One is consuming foods that are highly processed, as the vast majority of your diet, especially processed in a way that makes them tastier and strips some of the nutrients. Like junk food is very inflammatory. And also, if you eat consistently foods that are too high in calories for you daily and you start gaining weight, that is massively inflammatory. So if you eat a high protein, high veggie, high fruit, whole grain, healthy fat diet, nuts, almond butter, avocados, things like that, you are eating an anti-inflammatory or low inflammatory diet. And as long as you're losing weight or maintaining a healthy weight, you're doing 95% of the anti-inflammatory stuff there, straight up. And so when you see the intersection of an anti-inflammatory diet with a diet that's just generally healthy, I mean, generally healthy diets, absolutely almost all the way there.
I think people are just after short-term gratification that I want to try this and it'll work on me, rather than doing consistently the same boring thing throughout the year. Anyway, the last two questions for us. One is about artificial sugar. So artificial sweetener, or I'll say non-nutritive sweetener. What do you have to say about that, especially when you are having a lot of sweet cravings or a low-calorie diet when you're on?
Yeah, they're totally healthy and safe in very high amounts. And so you can have all the diet soda that you want, no problem. I just would never really think about it twice. The idea that artificial sweeteners are bad for health is whole cloth, make-believe manufactured. And people have the argument from nature, otherwise known as naturalistic fallacy, when they think that natural things are good and artificial things are bad. That is not a categorical rule you can apply to the world. If that's true, then don't take antibiotics, don't go to the hospital, don't turn on your air conditioning. And so artificial sweeteners are totally, totally fine. And I would say also that if you care about fitness and health and body composition, you don't want to be overweight and unhealthy and die early, I would just say it's a pretty good rule. You could violate every now and again. I don't know why you would. To just never drink full sugar juice or soda ever again, and only ever drink diet juices and diet soda. That single replacement is like a massive boost to your health, because artificial sweeteners are totally cool.
Yeah, thank you. And what is your number one mantra for weight loss? Because people are always joining the gym, New Year resolution, everything is all about weight loss coming back. So what is your number one mantra for weight loss?
Calories. Calorie balance. You just have enough activity, 10,000 steps a day, lifting weights so you don't lose muscle, and then you eat a high protein diet where the calories are lower than you need by 300 or 400 or 500 per day, and then you lose weight. It's pretty straightforward. If you do anything other than that, and your calories aren't low, then you're probably going to have struggle with weight loss.
Thank you. And if you have to tell Gen Pop 2 habits to follow throughout the year consistently, what would that be?
Lift weights and have most of your meals be composed of a core of protein. Show up to any restaurant, show up to your kitchen, show up to the grocery store. First question, how do I get the protein? That's it.
Anyway, we are done here. Is there anything you want to tell our audience before we leave, Mike?
Yes. If any of the audience is Indian diaspora or Indians in India, the amount of untapped market potential for getting Indians to lift weights and getting Indians to eat high protein, healthy, delicious foods is in the trillions of dollars. So go get rich, offering Indians amazing foods and amazing training curated to them. And it's a huge market, because there's how many languages are spoken in India? Like 100 or something? Everyone's got their own little niche. Every province in India, Maharashtra, every single other one can have experts in fitness that are doing the weight training part, convincing people to lift weights, teaching them how in their native language, and giving them their native foods that they grew up with in high protein, healthy ways. That is going to be the story of the late 2020s, early 2030s, because even when we have drugs that Indians can take that are like tirzepatide and even anabolic drugs that aren't steroid based that help Indians grow muscle, you still have to eat protein and you're still probably going to have to lift some weights. That's enormous. And so I think as the nation of India becomes wealthier and wealthier, we know something about nations that become wealthier. almost every single time, the amount of money and time they spend on leisure and health increases massively. Like billionaires spend almost all of their time in which they're not working on leisure and health. Like they're fucking obsessed with biohacking, eating all the right foods, training all the right ways. They'll literally just pick world experts to coach them. And so millionaires do less of that, but still a lot. Thousandaires do less of that, but still a lot. As the people of India become wealthier and wealthier, which they are have been for generations and will continue to be, the potential market is massive. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're Indian diaspora, you hold a special time in history where it's the very beginning of the Indian fitness and health revolution. And once that revolution hits, if you're there early doing a great job, you're just going to make a ton of money and get really famous. And the best part, you're going to get to help millions of other people get in shape. Because when we go to India, us fucking white people, to do conferences, we look around and we're like, holy shit, there's like 2 competitors in a market where there could be 100. And just nobody's doing it. And right now is the time to get in, to start building these systems and getting educated on how to train people and how to nutrition coach people, because holy shit, in the next 5-10 years, literally 1 billion people in India will become fitness industry people and consume these products, goods, and services. It's a big deal.
I agree. India is getting wealthier and they just need to know exactly what to do with that money. So if you are watching from India, please call us, Mike and me. We are ready to come. But thank you so much. Yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
So one real quick. Indians are amazing at trying to argue in their little preferences to their coach. So heads up, if you're Indian, you know this probably, and you're going to coach Indians, you got to put the hammer down. Because they're going to be like, okay, I know you said protein, but what if I go like, no, you will eat this protein. And the good thing about Indians is they'll try to argue, but when you push back in a formal style, they go, okay. And then they do what they're told. Don't let people, because here's the thing, when you're an Indian coach, a lot of your clients, wealthier Indians or higher status Indians, and you're not supposed to push back on them. There's, well, I need some protein, but don't fucking let them get away with it. Put your foot down, be gentle, but be firm and say, this is the path to fitness. You can always turn it back on them. You're being like, hey, how's it going so far? And they're like, well, shitty. Well, maybe if you listen to somebody and actually do what you're told, it's going to go better. And they're like, God damn it. Because Indians are smart as fuck. They respect formal schooling and they respect authority. If you, as an Indian coach or trainer, are very meek and just accept what the client says, you're never going to get anyone into shape, because trust me, Europeans and Asians already tried it, where you'll hire a coach for lots of money, don't listen to your coach, and it goes nowhere, but you just keep paying money because you have to tell your friends you have a coach. Otherwise, people think you don't care about your fitness. Don't fall for that shit. Put the hammer down, make people do what they're supposed to do. They'll thank you for it. It's a big deal.
No wonder I'm from Indian genetic, and my clients are keep on telling me, you yell at us a lot. It's like, I'm just used to it. And I literally tell them, even my white clients, like, I want you to do this today. I want that meal to be done. And they are used to it. They laugh at me. And I was like, why do I talk like that? I'm not like other coaches who are so gentle with their clients. And I am like telling them what to do like this. And now I realize that it just makes more sense. This is who I am. And that's how Indian
100%.
works.
100%. If you don't raise your voice, nothing gets done. You got to be the person that says, this is where it stops, especially to your clients that are wealthier, they have some authority. Look, if you're training in Mumbai and you have a banker client, and like, you might even be from a different caste, and he could be taken aback when you say, hey, now you got to eat well. But again, the obvious answer, if people get offended or kind of weird, is, I'm telling you this because it's important for you to do. Imagine you went to a hospital and the doctor was like, put this cream on your cut and the cut will go away. And you're like, well, I'm going to go to the beach later. Do I really have to put on the cream? What's the doctor going to say? He's going to be like, look, either you put the cream on your cut or you're going to get an infection. Which one do you want? You're like, oh, God damn it. So you put the cream on. As a trainer, as a diet coach, you say, do you want results or do you look great right now? Do you love how you look? No. I'm going to do what I say because I'm on your team. I'm on the same side. And a lot of times people are like, okay, they'll try it for a few weeks, they'll succeed, and then they'll listen to every single thing you say after that. And their friends are, really, you listen to that person? Like, yeah, he got me in shape. Of course he knows what he's doing. I listen to everything he says, everything she says. Alpa's my coach, and she tells me what to do. It worked when I trusted her. I'm just going to trust her from now on. You have to build that early. You can't do this whole thing, because Indians are unbelievable at customer service, and they're the kindest people in the world. And so like, oh, sir, please eat this meal. And you're like, no. And they're like, okay, well, I'll just work around that. They'll fucking work around. Anything you don't have to work around. The core basics of eating protein and lifting weights are non-negotiable. Non-negotiable.
The human body isn't fragile. It responds to what you do most often, not what you do perfectly.